For those that are ongoing and very religious supporters of the current Trudeau government, well, buttressed up by the NDP, ask yourself one question. What's going right? Our airports are a mess. People can't travel. Inflation is sky high. We have a housing crisis. Taxes are through the roof. Canadians are having to decide between their wants and their needs. Do they put gas in their car or food on the table? And now there's one more thing that the Trudeau government is about to lay upon our feet, and that is with our farmers. I'm Adrienne Batra. Brian Lilley, you have just reported on a story that seems to be going under the radar, and it has to do with our agriculture sector, our production, our food. What's going on?
Well, I've been hearing little bits of this for the last while, but the story about what the Trudeau government wants to do when it comes to fertilizer and Canada's farms wasn't really getting any play outside of farm journals and where they've been covering it extensively. But we've all seen the images of the Dutch farmers protesting, and they're protesting in Europe because the Dutch government, which is very much in line with the Trudeau government, their Prime Minister, Mark Rutte, is very much a friend and political ally of Trudeau himself. They've brought in regulations to tell farmers that they have to cut their nitrous oxide use, which is a component of fertilizer, by 50% by 2030. And so they're having huge demonstrations. They're blocking supermarkets, they're blocking highways, they're blocking food distribution centers, saying this is going to put us out of business. This is going to drive up the cost of food. It's going to be horrible for everyone involved. And I looked at what our government is doing, and it's not quite as stringent. They're not looking for a 50% cut, but they are looking for a 30% cut in emissions from fertilizer, which most farmers will tell you means cut fertilizer use by 30%. You do that, you get less crop per land, less output. Your production value or production cost could end up going up. And the cost of food is definitely going to go up because there will be less of it to go around. So less income for farmers, more cost to you to put that food on the table. This is not a good plan.
It's a cocktail for disaster because the input costs that our farmers are already facing are sky high. Add the inflation that is putting even more pressure upon this. How does this get justified? I mean, is this yet another one of their climate change obsessive plans? When Chrystia Freeland was asked the other day about the cost of gasoline for the trucking industry, she reverted once again back to climate change. And I know that Canadians all feel that they want to do their part in addressing climate change. We do have very strict rules in this country already. We all put our stuff in the blue bin and we're doing all of these things as individuals already. How is this going to fly? I imagine that the Trudeau government is already so, shall we say, trepidatious about what happened with the trucker convoy. Are we going to see something similar with our farmers?
If they go ahead with it, quite possibly. Look, they've got some consultations going on to the end of August, but this is part of their climate change plan. And it was developed not by Agriculture and Agri-Food Canada. It wasn't developed by the Ag Minister. It was developed by the Environment and Climate Change Minister, then given to Ag Canada, and they were told, here, you guys implement this 30% cut. There's been no consultation on how high the cut should be, no modeling provided to the industry, to farmers. I've talked to farmers in the prairies, I've talked to farmers in southwestern Ontario, and they're all telling me the same thing. We don't use more fertilizer than we need. We put in just the right amount to get the crop out because fertilizer is expensive, but the government's acting as if they're going around putting in fertilizer all over the place, like your Uncle Bob, who got some lawn fertilizer on sale at Canadian Tire. No, this is really expensive stuff. So they're not using it willy-nilly. And if they don't use it, then the crop yields go down. There was a study by the industry looking into this. And the estimate is that a farmer on the prairies who plants 1,000 acres of canola and 1,000 acres of wheat, and you're from Saskatchewan, a 2,000 acre farm ain't a big farm. Well, you plant that and 1,000 of canola, 1,000 of wheat, you're going to lose about $40,000 a year just from this one change. And again, price of food going up, income for farm families going down, government getting involved where they don't need to. The industry is trying to say, look, let's look at how much fertilizer gets used for how much crop is out there, because already we're lower in Canada than other countries because of using best farming practices. If we don't grow the food here, it'll be grown somewhere else where they don't use these best farming practices. And if you're worried about global emissions, they'll go up. But the Trudeau government hasn't bought those sorts of arguments from other industries before. They're unlikely to buy them from the farmers. And I'm worried that what we saw in February with the truckers convoy, what we're seeing in Holland right now with the Dutch farmers, that anger could spill over here in the near future if the Trudeau government isn't careful, if they don't take off their green blinders to see reality.
Well, we knew that when Mr. Gibault was appointed as the environment minister, he's, one of these greeniacs, and that they are going to be so radical when it comes, the environment ministry was going to be so radical under his watch. Is this just the beginning of it? Are there other aspects to this policy that they have just drummed up that we should take note of?
Well, in Holland, they're also going after emissions related to livestock production. So watch for them to go after beef farmers, maybe chicken farmers. Pork farmers, probably not as much, because those are mostly based in Quebec, and we know that the Trudeau government doesn't do anything to annoy Quebec farmers. But yeah, they're going to come after your meat as well. So if you enjoy a burger, you enjoy a pork chop, you enjoy a steak or bacon, that could all be facing new limits as well. We haven't gone that route in Canada yet, but if we follow what the Europeans are doing, then yeah, they could be coming after that as well. Again, driving up costs, driving farmers out of business, and driving up what it costs to put the food on your plate.
Ask yourself, Canada, what is going right with the Trudeau government? Very little. Log on to Facebook and Twitter. Let us know what you think. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel.